This is a production of the LPL Podcast Network.
Welcome to Dynamic Thriving Podcast. This podcast will assist you in your quest to be, do, and have anything you desire by highlighting coaches, intuitives, energy specialists, and light workers. This is your host, Mary Ann Pack, spiritual guide and oracle for the many. Welcome to Dynamic Thriving Podcast. I am your host, Mary Ann Pack, spiritual guide into all things life transformational. And on today's podcast, we have a special guest, a dear friend of mine and colleague, Sandy Tomey. And welcome, Sandy. I am so happy that you are here and have shared your time with us.
Thank you, Mary Ann. It is my pleasure to be here and share this very special Valentine's edition with you and with everyone.
Absolutely. I am so glad you're here for this because we're going to talk to Sandy. She is the Love Luminary, and in a moment we'll find out a little bit more about that. But let's set our intention. Let's set our intention that as we go through this podcast, that we commit to being the person, becoming the person who can attract a spiritual partner, your spiritual partnerships, but it's becoming the person who is doing the attracting and what that involves and what that means for you as you walk your spiritual and life path. So again, I want to thank you for being here, Sandy. And just will you tell us who Sandy Tomey is and what good you bring into the world?
Well, thank you. So in a professional sense, I am, as you mentioned, the Love Luminary. It is my mission, my ministry, and my calling, I believe, to help women find the love of their life and create thriving, happy spiritual partnerships. And I know that if I can do my part in the world to help, even one woman love themselves more and create a happy environment for themselves and for their children and all their businesses and giving that out into the world, then I've done what I was put here to do on this earth. Yes.
Awesome. And what about your family? Tell us a little bit about.
Yes. Well, I have very, very, very large family. My family of origin, I am the youngest of 6 children, lots of aunts and uncles and grandchildren, cousins and that such. I have 3 children. 2 of them are my own. Well, yeah, 2 of them are my own from my first marriage, and a stepson from my second marriage, and 2 more bonus children, and maybe even a granddaughter from my current love relationship right now that I already claim as family. So lots of people in my life to love and be loved by. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. It sounds like you have a great big love fest going on over there. So.
And created in every possible way that it possibly could be created through relationships, right?
Yeah, blending all that together.
Yes.
Yes, I have 2 sons from my previous marriage, and then when I married Randy, I inherited 4 bonus children, and now they're partners. So it's so much fun to blend all that love together.
It is. You can never have too much love, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So can you, I know we've talked just a little bit about what a Love Luminary is. You kind of just briefly went over that, but could you express that just a little bit more? What does that mean? What does that involve? And if somebody, I know you teach other people to be their own Love Luminary.
Yes. Yeah. So when you think of a luminary, it is like a candle, right? And it's really being lit up from within. You're illuminating everything that's around you. And that love that we're, oh my gosh, sometimes when we're young, or so often that we're just like so desperately seeking it outside of ourselves via relationship and things like that, that it really, that deep love that we're really seeking is that love and that light from within. And that's, being our own best friend. That involves self-love, self-worth, and being aligned with your higher power as well. Really being, aligned physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That all the love that we seek, and really creating a fabulous and thriving spiritual partnership, it all hinges on being a love luminary, which I call loving yourself and being your own best friend. And so it kind of evolved. It just kind of came to me. Not really sure exactly how. It just maybe a download in ways, and I started using it, and it really started resonating with people. So it has stuck around for the 10 years that I've been in business, coaching women to find love. Yeah,
that is so. I just love that term, love luminary, and you're right. It's definitely, we have to look inward first to be our first love.
Yes.
That spirit part of us, that eternal soul, I call it inner being, inner source, whatever you call that eternal part of you, that broader perspective, and blending that relationship with your mind body, the physical part of us with the non-physical, and blending into the wholeness of who we are. That relationship is the first and foremost relationship, because it is the basis for every other relationship you'll have. And if you're not your own soul partner,
right,
how can you expect to be a soul partner for someone else if you haven't done the inner work yourself?
That is so true, Marianne. And if we weren't taught that growing up, or even if we were taught it growing up, I think that I was very much, for the most part, still taught that pretty well growing up. And still I was, society and everything teaches us to look outside of ourselves for that love and that validation. And it is a lifelong journey. I have heard oftentimes that, these are really the things that should be taught in high school, is how to do this well, because this really is the foundation and the root of everything that we build in our lives. Our businesses flourish when we really have a strong sense of self and self-love for ourselves. Our relationships, every relationship in our life flourishes. And sometimes, that whole self-love thing gets poo-pooed. Okay, yeah, but it's different. It's not just self-confidence. It's just this really deep, abiding, spiritual soul love, as you mentioned, of knowing who you are. And we can only discover that in relationship to other people. We discover that in relationship to our family and our friends, and what our parents reflect back to us as a child, good or bad. And then as we start dating, our first relationships, my first relationship was the very biggest teacher of my journey, my sacred journey in self-love. Of course, it didn't work out forever, because its purpose was to teach me to love myself and to really know what I wanted. It really was, it was a spiritual partnership in that way. All of our relationships are so important on our sacred journey to finding and discovering who we are. And when you're single and you're not in a relationship, you can also work with a coach to really do that work, and finding out who you are as well, because you need that interplay of people and friends, partners, relationships to really do that deep inner work.
Yes, I totally agree. I definitely am a big supporter of coaching, that it should be certainly a normal part of our lives, that it should be ongoing, because life is a process, life is a journey. And every time we grow, well, now we're in a new jumping off place because the old stuff is not, we've already moved past it. So now every time we're venturing into new territory. And that mentorship, that coaching is what does that for so many of us. Because again, if we could really do this on our own, we would have already done it.
Exactly.
So it's always good to know that there are people out here who are coaching and who are directing us. So our topic is keys to attracting your spiritual partner. So let's talk a little bit explain just a little bit about that, and then I have some questions I want to ask.
All right, super. So, I love the term spiritual partner. It's where I am in my life, and it seems to really encompass the wholeness of everything. I do love to honor, where people are. You may call it your soulmate. You may call it your beloved. You may call it your life partner. Like you had talked about intention and really getting clear on what the intention is. I think for each and every one of us, intentionally choosing what is it that really resonates with you and where you are in this part of your journey is very important. And I would like to say they're all spiritual partnerships, because they're helping you grow and they're helping you learn, and they're helping each person in that relationship discover more about themselves. And even the coaching relationship with my clients is its own type of spiritual partnership, because I grow and my clients grow, and it is a walking side by side of self-discovery with each other. So yeah, I generally boil it down into three keys, more or less. It's clearing away the past energy, bringing you up to where you are. There's always that healing part and that release part, that there might be things that are still straggling from the past that requires a certain amount of looking at what that is. For some people, it might be a lot. For some people, it might be a little. That's the process of becoming that love luminary. And then the second one is really being it and aligning your energy, heart, mind, body, and soul with the truth of who you are and what you want and what it is that you desire, and then sharing it with the world, putting your face and your offer and your what you want out there, and harnessing the law of attraction to bring that in. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, that's the three keys.
Right. And I appreciate that. But do you see what are some of the struggles that single women, or I know we've even talked before, and you've even mentioned that some of your clients are maybe women even in a relationship or married, but they're secretly really unhappy. So can you speak to a couple of those struggles that you really see your clients dealing with?
Yeah. So much of that is just not knowing themselves well and not loving themselves where we call it that awareness, that self-awareness, that they've taken all that everybody else has told them that they are as a female and a woman in the world, and believe, especially my clients, they've kind of got sucked into believing what everybody else says they should be or wants them to be, that people pleaser part of a woman. And they've never really asked themselves, like, what are my needs? What do I want? Where am I going? And that's really the big thing, is that they just really haven't discovered that they have wants and needs and values. And then when they try to do that, or try to assert themselves, sometimes it's coming from a place of maybe anger or just, like still trying to push it down in some ways, and like really owning it. There's a process to just really, again, loving yourself first and being with who you are before you try to just go out there and have somebody else fill that space that is really can only be filled with your own love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I say that, both things happen at the same time. You can be working on self-love while you're in a relationship and dating someone, and they can be doing that too. All of that, it's not always a linear process. It's not first you have to do that and then this. Everybody's different in that. It's all kind of happening at the same time. I call it the sacred love journey, right? Because we're always on a stepping stone to understanding ourselves more and loving ourselves more and loving the other person more.
I love that. Sacred journey. So yeah, I certainly understand the part about, we lose ourselves. So many of us women do that. Either how we were raised, our kind of bubbly spirit or whatever sometimes got squashed or squelched. Or we were told you need to be this way because our religious training or teachers, or you're this or you're that. And you get this little identification in this little box and you think that's all you are. And then when you get into a relationship, all of a sudden, some of that stuff hits you in the face and it's mirroring back to you and you're very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe
I've definitely been there.
And for a while it might feel okay because we have that relationship, but eventually, depending on what your core values are, right? A lot of my clients really are committed to personal growth.
Yes.
And have done, when you've done a lot of work on yourself and your personal growth, you do want somebody who values and honors that as well. And, who we are when we're in our 20s and decide to get married, because that was the traditional thing to do, is a very different world, and we're very different people than when we're in our 50s or 60s and still with that person, right? Like, if marriages that last that long, I would say, and we've all heard this before, it might have been 5 or 6 different marriages or partnerships with the same person, because they both chose to evolve and grow and reinvent that relationship. And those we do, and sometimes you can do that with the same person,
right?
So sometimes, oftentimes you cannot, and still be in alignment and things. So yeah,
I can definitely see that, because either in a marriage, even though you may be going at a little bit different pace, those that last that long, to me, they have continued to grow together. And like you said, it may have morphed into 5 or 6 marriages over a 60-year span of wedded bliss. But, even in the short time that Randy and I have been married, we're coming up on 9 years. And from where we started, it's much deeper. It's not as surface. It's where you start digging in and start expressing your beliefs and how you feel and have that openness that sometimes we don't have in relationships. And then it's like you're almost jet propelled, at warp speed into another new, development in your relationship. And it just to grow together has just been a blast. So totally different than what I experienced before.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that, what allows partners to grow together over an extended period of time are the foundation is there for you and Randy, right? I would imagine you share significant amount of core values.
Yes.
And your vision for your future matches each other. And you have great communication, right? Yes. So often we don't know what our own vision is. We don't know what our values are and our purpose and all of that. And when you're getting into a partnership before you know all that, then you're deciding what's important by different by outer values instead of those inner values, right? And so the choices that you're going to make when you don't know who you are or what you want are going to be different than someone who really knows where you're going, what you want, and what your values are.
I love that you definitely focus on what's your core value. How many of us stopped and has journaled or thought about what our real core values are? What does that even mean?
Right. Right.
What is a core value? Just touch on a few of those things because, years ago, I would have never given that a thought.
Right.
I found this guy and he wants to get married, and I said yes, and off we go.
Yeah. There are those foundational principles that we do live our life by, right? Like we do all have them, whether we can name them or not. We do all have them, and you can kind of test it. Is if your life feels like if it's going in flow and feels good, you're probably living a lot of your core values, right? If there's an area of your life that is not going well, then you need to look at your core values and see how you're out of alignment with that, right? Mm-hmm. So, they can all be different, but we're talking about truth, honesty, love, authenticity. For me, I include fun and spirit, which is source and God for me. But even the names that you choose around your core values is important. Service is really big for me, giving back. So knowing that, and when I'm, in the several times that I was, searching in my 40s, I was searching, I was out actively choosing a spiritual partner. And in my 50s, I was out actively choosing a spiritual partner. Those core values and the vision that I held for my life were so important in, I did share them, but it's almost like you don't almost even need to share them as much as you need to know what they are yourself. Because once you know them and you own it, the law of attraction comes in and brings you that.
Yes. And that's the part of even when we set our intention, I said, who are you becoming? And it's those core values that's supporting you of who you really are. And so you help your clients find those core values, because again, like you said, sometimes we can't verbalize them. Right. We have the feeling of them, but then when a coach starts rattling off these different things, you go, yeah, there it is.
And we know there's so much power in like accessing it, owning it, putting it down on paper and making it present and living it. And that's like that, that's the secret to great transformation and to great, movement and, coaching or healing or any part of that is really making the truth of who you are present to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you become that person, you're just putting off the vibe of who you really are then, that authentic person of integrity and whatever. So that's what the universe is feeling. Yes. And the law of attraction, because that which is like unto itself is drawn. So like attracts like. That vibration that's preceding you is also attracting back to you.
Yes. So
it's that
energetic vibe, that frequency, like what, and that's a question, that I used to ask and that I did ask, like, what am I putting out, right? What is that energy speaking to the rest of the world? And I have that I can answer that in the work that we do together with the Love Attraction Factor, right? It's an energy leadership assessment. I call it the Love Attraction Factor. And it really lets you know what your vibe is, what your energetic frequency is on this scale, and we review all that together. And I like to say how likely you are really to attract a healthy spiritual partnership for yourself, because it's where you are, right? And it tells us where you are on your sacred journey. Are we still in the healing part? Are we still in the owning part? And being and becoming? Well, we never really finish becoming, in my own opinion. We're always on that journey. But knowing where you are, you can choose at what point you want to go out and attract an equal for yourself. You can decide with the work, with it right there in front of you in black and white, what you're putting out there and what inner work that you want to work on first. And we'll do that work together in a very safe and sacred, amazing, healthy way, private. And when we're ready, we will let you flourish and shine in the world in the way that you like to do to attract your partner.
Right.
Because he's looking for you. She's looking for you just as much as you're out there desiring that partnership as well.
Right. And two, before we're kind of ready, and I think this why so many times people complain, oh, I just can't find anybody. There's just nobody out there. They want something. They know what they probably want in essence, but that's not who they are.
Exactly.
So they keep attracting the person that they don't want because they're attracting the person of who they're being right then, because they haven't continued their own sacred journey far enough to start attracting the kind of person they really would love to have.
Yes.
So it's all that being and becoming.
Yes.
That we're projecting, because you're always attracting. You can't turn off the law of attraction.
Right. You cannot. You're attracting who you are.
Exactly. Yes. So it's just like, if you keep attracting ornery people around you, you might want to look at your attitude. Because
and it's like
that's some orneriness going on.
It's that dating treadmill, right? Like you keep hoping that somebody else will, that you're going to attract something different than what you keep doing. It's like, take that pause, do that inner work, find anybody, a coach. There's lots of great coaches and people that will help you out there transform, and relationship coaches to really do that inner work. It's going to help you in your relationship and your business and in everything. And it's really the answer. It really is.
Yeah, because if you look,
not something anything can, once you have that love, I call it being successfully single. Once you have that love and that sense of self and that joy, nobody else can take that away from you. Somebody can break up with you and you still have that love inside. Your love of your life can die of cancer, which my second husband did. And it was sad and it was upsetting, but that sense of love that I had cultivated and love for myself and love with him, that was still present. And so it was a lot of emotions, but it was not the end of the world because I had that sense of self. I wasn't putting everything onto our relationship and him. We were enhancing each other's lives. And now he's a spiritual partner in a different way. And I'm open to, just as there's many, many more children and people to love, there's, a new partner to be there and love in our own spiritual partnership way. It's that sense of that love luminary being, having that foundation that no thing can take away from you. It's priceless.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're not looking for love in all the wrong places. You've actually developed that relationship with yourself first. So the foundation is there, and no matter what waves come, just as you said, losing your first marriage to divorce and then the second marriage to death, it didn't knock you off course. You still had the wherewithal within yourself because you had that love foundation already.
Yeah.
And
Well, I didn't in the first marriage, and that's what brought me to that love foundation, right?
Yes.
It was through therapy and coaching and really, really doing my work, a lot of energy work, right? The whole energy part of this is a real important part of, you know, the wholeness of that. So, you know, the first one was used to teach me. You know, the second relationship was used to grow me, right? And, you know, and this relationship, you know, it's still fairly new, but it's, you know, I like to hope that it's the fulfillment of what we're always, you know, whatever, you know, every day we discover something new about ourselves and each other and the world. So constantly doing the work and constantly, you know, doing my own work in that regard as well.
Yes, yes. Yes, and finding those moments of joy or laughter or whatever when, you know, you as a couple just click kind of thing. It's just so much fun.
Yes.
Randy and I were on the front porch this morning sipping coffee and I don't know, we started saying something and it just turned into just laughter. And I was just so appreciative. I was just like, this is so much fun.
No.
So happy.
Oh, you know, and that's so priceless too. When I was, you know, prepping right before this and my mind was all about like serious topics and stuff like that. You know, my partner Mark came in and he wanted to spin me around in this chair, like the chair that I'm sitting in. He's like, he just like, so that core value of fun, right? It just is there. And it was almost like intuitively he knew what I needed to lighten my load. And I had a nice laugh. We both did, you know, it was lovely. It was really lovely. So
exactly.
You know.
Yes, I get so serious.
Yeah.
And, you know, Randy just brings such laughter into my life. So that humor, it just like lightens the load for a little bit.
Yeah, that humor and that playfulness and that's like really the ability to be present in the moment, right? That's the Buddhist principle, you know, because so often when we're doing this coaching, we can be healing the past, envisioning the future, right? And there's a time and a place for all of that. But we got to be in the present, and that's what the meditations, you know, have us do. And you know, just day in and day out being who we are.
Yes. So I'm just curious, how did you decide to get into this kind of business where you're helping, you know, singles and people in relationships that are trying to decide, maybe they're in, they're out, they don't know, they're indecisive.
Yeah.
So how did you
know, you've heard the term "your mess is your message," right?
Yes.
Right. I've always felt called to do some kind of service and ministry in the world. I've always loved retreats, grew up Catholic, kind of the empowered Catholic, not so much the hellfire and damnation, but I was after Vatican II where it was more love. I have a beautiful aunt who is one of the, you know, the nuns here in the area that I am, and she would always tell me Jesus is in your heart, right? It was never a judgmental God for me, fortunately.
You're so fortunate.
Right?
You're so fortunate.
Service, right? And I never really knew, you know, I wasn't called to be a nun. I wasn't called to any, you know, it just, none of that really made sense. I loved being on retreat and giving retreats. Did a lot of them in my church growing up. And while I was married, it gave me a lot of growth and service. And I was lost. You know, and people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I really didn't know. And through my divorce and with therapy and life coaching, I had found a life coach. That was in those very, very early years.
Yes, that would have been
very early. She was actually a social worker that did some body work and life coaching. And my therapist actually referred me to her, and the changes that I had gotten from that were so profound. I was able to see my relationship more clearly. I was able to love myself, and I was able to take those steps. And when I researched coaching, I realized at that time, no wonder I have never known what I wanted to do, because this career did not exist until now. And I wasn't really even attracted to therapy either, being a therapist for some reason, because it really is different than coaching.
Yes.
You know, there might be some overlap, and we need both in the world. Absolutely. But it was different. And when I found it, was just like, oh my goodness, right? It was amazing. So it was honestly working with a business coach at the time, and hearing my story and sharing what I loved and my passion and all that. She said, have you ever thought of becoming a relationship coach and helping people through divorce or find love? And I'm like, well, I can't do that. So she's like, well, give it a try. See if you like it. You've certainly done it for yourself. Give it a try and see if it resonates. And that was one of the best pieces of business advice I think I ever got. Does it excite you? Does it thrill you? And give it a try. And so I did, and it worked, and I've been busy ever since. So there really is no looking back. And I'm weaving it now. How it's becoming more me is, it's more of the inner work, and it's, being that spiritual director for relationships. That was the other path I almost took before I became a relationship coach, was a spiritual director. But that didn't quite fit nearly as much as the spiritual relationship coach and helping you find your spiritual partner. So that's kind of my journey and how I came to it.
I love that. I just wanted everybody to know.
And careful what you ask for, because you get lots of, as coaches,
moments.
What we teach, we have to live and learn, right? So
yes. Oh, yes, definitely.
Yes.
I totally agree. Our mess is our message, because every time that we're going through something, another growth period, another transformation period in our lives, that's what we end up teaching, because it's right there on the surface that you're getting victories with, or transformation with, and you feel the aha moment and you go, I want to share this because this stuff works. It's going to help somebody. So I love that. I know in the past we've talked, being friends, and we've talked about that there's secret sauces. Some people just have like a secret sauce, and it just sort of elevates them above and beyond a lot of other coaches or mentors or service people kind of do that. And what do you think that secret sauce is? What shines people above and beyond just the average coach?
Are you asking? Well, I think we all have our secret sauce, right?
But if you're not tapping into it, I guess,
Yeah. Are you? So what are you asking? What secret sauce is, or what my secret sauce is, or
what your secret sauce is?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
who
Okay.
you are.
Right. Okay. For me, the secret sauce is the really the full and holistic way I work with my clients. It is very, I really, really enjoy the one-on-one. So it's full and it's deep and it's immersive and powerful and transforming. I am able to combine, of course, the coaching and the relationship skills and communication of all of the outer work. But it is that gift, I guess, the spiritual gift of being able to help you shift and move the energy, and the energy work, working with your 7 energy centers of your body, and shifting shifting what isn't working in your life and in your thought process away, and helping you institute what that new or that truth of who you really are. It's what that is. So physically, you know, until COVID, I was working with clients one-on-one here in person, doing VIP days and retreats. That will open up again very soon. I'm now doing that virtually. But the energy, like the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, we really and truly look at all 5 of those wholenesses. It's not just, you know, the outer work of getting, you know, doing the communication. It is that, but it's really seeing you as a whole love luminary, a whole being, and having all of the tools at my disposal at the right time to give you exactly what you need for your next step on the sacred journey. And for everybody, everybody's in different places too, right? And what, you know, what one client might need who's married and miserable and needing to look at things is very, very different than what a client who's done a lot of the work and is just ready really to go out and date online or attract her partner, right? Those, yes. They're in different areas, and I have tools and holistically looking at everything, spiritually and mentally, emotionally and physically, to be able to do that. So the you know, the coaching and really that energy work and that connection to source and finding out what's true for you, I think is my own special sauce. Yeah, secret sauce.
Yes. Yes, I like that, because it's always, to me, you know, it's always a holistic approach. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just missing integral pieces that,
yes,
that, you know, you've got a broken circle, you know. So it's not going to roll. You know, if you've got chunks out of your wheel, you're going to get stuck. Yeah. So do you want to touch on a few of those keys, or expound on the keys that you were talking about earlier about finding your spiritual partner or attracting?
Yeah, well, you know, we kind of mentioned it all in pieces. You know, it's first is finding out where you are and what your energy is, right? And, you know, what is that energy you're knowing or unknowingly putting out into the world, and clearing, releasing, visioning what it is that you do want, right? Mm-hmm. That second key then is aligning the energy, and that's where the energy work and my Being the One program, you know, being the Love Luminary, all that inner work. It is 8 sessions with worksheets and work, and it is actually a program that I walk my clients through, you know, when they're actively in that single and date before they're actually dating, right? And then, you know, the attracting part, it's sharing it with the world. You know who you are, you know what you're looking for, your vision, mission, and purpose. And that's like the outer action steps of dating online, virtually, using your network and resources, and allowing, you know, just like we would ask for referrals in our business, you know, we can own the fact that we're looking for a partner in life, and using those resources too. Prayer groups, you know, praying and, you know, using all of those tools at our disposal to harness that law of attraction to bring you and your partner together. Because in the outer work, that's a real struggle that a lot of my clients say too, like, where are they? Where are all the good people? Where are all the good men? Where are all the good women? And that too is just another limiting belief, right?
Right.
When you become it, you find it, and it finds you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, would you mind, do you have any client stories that you could kind of tell us? Maybe some favorite client stories? I would love to hear from some examples of what people have accomplished by working with you.
Yes. Okay. So, probably the most present and one of my favorite ones was a client that I've worked with, you know, over the years, and she's really, really gone, you know, through the journey, right? She she had been, when I first met her, she had had several relationships, and none of them really were quite working out, because she really wasn't aware of how beautiful and loving and brilliant she really was. She was always trying to dumb herself down and fit herself down into kind of almost the reality of the world. And she never really owned her light. And a couple times making some concessions and settling just to be with someone, right? And feeling the pain, of that. And, through our work together, and we had, it was with some very intensive work here. Both, it was just a kind of an immersion here. From that, she actually called me about a week ago and said, Sandy, we are talking about marriage, and this woman is older, so it's not like it's not like, when you've done this a few times, it's not like, oh, he popped the question, right? It's none of that kind of stuff. It's like, we both know who we are, we both know what we want, and our visions match, and we're building our lives together. That she's got a beautiful business that she's building, and he's helping her and she's helping him, and it just really is a wonderful partnership. And to see that is just, it's so rewarding for me, right? It's just, they're happy, and she was happy before that too, but even happier, right? When you want to be happy, but happiness expounds when you can share it with a partner and groups, right? Even in our business circles, when we collaborate with other people, we grow the business, we grow the love. And so your spiritual partnership with your husband, wife, or just the person, your partner that you're living with, you don't really even need to define it necessarily. Grow that love. That love can grow. It's going to help the world by doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And lots of stories like that. Sometimes they're ending in part, like committed partnerships. Most of the time they are. Sometimes it's just that I love myself more, right? And they're in a different journey, and they're happy being single, and they're happy in their life. And that's the journey and the stone that they're on right now. Right. And everybody's choice and what that looks like is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. We're all at different places on the path, and our path is so different. And there's enough similarities that, you can draw from all that knowledge. So how can people work with you? Would you give us an idea of how people can work with you, contact you?
Right. Well, all great relationships start with a conversation. I like to say that, right?
Oh, very nice.
Right. So that is still where I start, right? Is I want to have a conversation. And you can go to my website. I think we're going to share the link after this, and get on my schedule, and we will have a 20-minute conversation. So I can really hear where you are and what you want on your journey, and what's working and not working for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, just after that is complimentary. From there, we can, do the love attraction factor if you choose to, and it leads into all my programs and stuff like that. But really, it always starts with conversation. If you want to just know, are you ready for love right now? And you want to get on my mailing list, also go to my website, sandytomey.com. At the bottom, just give me your name and your email, and you can take the quiz, and you will know right then how ready you are to be out there in the dating world right now. And you'll have a little bit of you have an indicator of the work that is still in front of you to really be successful in finding your spiritual partner.
Yes. So, and what do you call this session?
The love breakthrough session. Yes.
Love breakthrough session. So
yes.
Can they find that link on your website, Sandy Tomey?
Yeah, sandytomey.com. I think it's / love illumination or love breakthrough. Yes.
Okay.
I sent you the link, and I know you're going to post it.
Oh, yes. I see
below.
it here.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's Sandy Tomey, TOMEY.com/schedule-love-breakthrough-session. So if you're looking for starting that conversation with Sandy, to be in relationship with her so that she can help you find out whether you're ready to attract your spiritual partner, be sure and visit Sandy's website. So I thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing with our audience and being my guest and spending some time with me. We don't get to see each other enough.
I know. Oh, Marianne, I thank you so much for this time and the brilliant and the bright light and the great work you are doing in the world, offering us this sacred space.
Mm-hmm.
And, I appreciate it so much.
Yes.
I love you, babe.
Thank you so much. So do you have any just a little nugget of wisdom or that you can share with our audience right before we sign off here?
Oh my gosh.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, a little bit. My favorite quote is, it's a Rumi quote, I think. Loving someone deeply gives you strength while being loved deeply gives you courage. Or it might be the other way around or something like that. So It's just an honor, to the sacred journey that if you're sitting there thinking that, oh my gosh, I've failed with so many relationships or nothing works out. I want you to know you haven't, that you are very, very wise and you've learned a lot and have more courage than a lot of people.
Yes. And the thing is, we have to look at those not as failures, but as fine tuning.
Yes.
Because every time we see what we don't want, we fine tune and make our preference known of what we do want. And every time that's a growth spurt because your inner being is becoming that. And then now it's time for you to just keep up with who you've just become. So
yes. And it's the sacred journey, and we're always right on path, and we're always right where we're supposed to be, and we're always right on target. Yeah.
Yes, we can't get it wrong because we'll never get it done. We're eternal beings.
Right. That's
always
right.
Another step, always another creation. So
I have enjoyed the present moment with you so much, Marianne. Thank you for having me. This has really been a gift and a pleasure.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for listening. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. You're also invited to visit our website, maryannpack.com, for all of our services. And we have a couple of free offers there. And also if you would like to donate and support this work. So I appreciate you. And remember, you are joy, looking for a way to express. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Dynamic Thriving Podcast. Please like, comment, and be sure to subscribe. Also, visit our website, maryannpack.com, for all of our services. Remember, you are joy, looking for a way to express.